Hey there, and welcome to the deep dive. Ever feel like you're just swimming in information, always wishing someone could just cut through it all and give you the really important stuff? Well, that's what we do here. We take complex topics, dig into the source material, and pull out the key insights for you. No fluff, just the good stuff. And today, we're plunging into something called Kanban Systems. It's this really powerful way to boost efficiency, slash waste, and importantly, empower teams. It started out in manufacturing, sure, but honestly, its ideas reach way beyond the factory floor.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting, isn't it? How something visually, well, pretty simple can lead to such big improvements in how things run. Operational excellence, basically. Our main source today, OpEx-KanbanSystems.pdf by Vishnu Rayapeddi, it really lays it all out clearly. The history, the purpose, how to actually do it. It's a great roadmap.
It really is. So, our plan today, we're going to unpack where Kanban came from, get into how it actually works, look at the real benefits you get, and even walk through putting it into practice. By the end, you'll have a solid grip on Kanban and, just as importantly, why it actually matters today. Okay, so let's kick things off right at the start. The word itself, Kanban, it's Japanese, right?
It is, and it literally means signboard or maybe visual card.
Huh. Pretty simple name for something that changed so much.
Exactly. But that simple signboard idea became, the heart of just-in-time manufacturing, JIT. It comes straight from Toyota back in the late 1940s, early 50s. They were trying to figure out how to control production between different steps without building up huge piles of inventory. Kanban was their answer. It was designed specifically to make that just-in-time idea work, only make what you need right when you need it.
And it clearly worked. It wasn't just a Toyota thing for long, was it? I read it really took off during the big recession in the 70s.
That's right. Companies everywhere were suddenly desperate, looking for ways to cut waste, reduce costs, just survive, really. Kanban offered this, clear, practical way to do that. It became a key tool for efficiency.
So at its absolute core, what is a Kanban? Is it always a card?
Not always a card, no. It's fundamentally a signal, a physical signal, usually. It could be a card, yeah, or an empty bin, or even a marked space on the floor. Its job is to regulate flow. It tells the process before yours, the upstream process, hey, we need this part, we need it now, and we need this many. And the crucial thing is that upstream process stops producing until it gets that signal. That's the pull system idea. Demand pulls the work through instead of it being pushed based on a forecast.
Right, the pull system. So it's all about responding to actual need. And those signals, the signboards, they create these visual indicators. How does that empower the people actually doing the work? Sounds like a big change.
Oh, it's a huge change. It puts the decision-making power right there with the operators. They're the ones looking at the visual cues and deciding, okay, how much do we run? When do we stop? Do we need to change over to a different product? And it's all based on what's actually being used downstream, not some plan made weeks ago. And what's really smart is that the Kanban rules often tell them what to do if something goes wrong and who to go to for help. So problem solving gets faster, more direct.
Okay, so if the operators are making more decisions based on these visual cues, what does that mean for managers? Does it make their job easier or just different?
Both, probably. It definitely changes the focus. Instead of constantly checking schedules and chasing updates, they can see the status of the line at a glance just by looking at the visual signals.
So less time buried in spreadsheets.
Exactly. It pretty much replaces those traditional daily or weekly production schedules for managing the immediate work. Now, it's important to be clear. Kanban isn't really a long-term planning tool. It's an execution tool, day-to-day direction. You still use planning info to set up the Kanban system, initially figure out buffer sizes, things like that. But once it's running, it cuts down drastically on the need for planners and supervisors to constantly monitor every little thing.
Which frees them up for other work.
Right, more strategic things. And like you said, it really empowers the operators, which, brings up that interesting question for any business.
Yeah.
How much control can you or should you push down to the front lines? What are the real benefits and maybe the hurdles?
That's a great point, and it leads us straight into the benefits. So, okay, what's the payoff? If a company implements Kanban, what concrete results can they expect?
The results could be pretty dramatic. The big one everyone talks about is inventory reduction, often close to 50%.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah, and it's how it does it. That's key. It forces you to look at real demand constantly. It stops you from just, churning stuff out based on forecasts that might be wrong, or just to keep machines busy. This really improves the flow of work. You hear the term one-piece flow, sometimes products moving smoothly one at a time. Kanban helps achieve that. And maybe most importantly, it tackles overproduction, which is often called the mother of all wastes because it hides so many other problems.
Right. If you have piles of stuff sitting around, you don't see the bottlenecks or the quality issues as quickly.
Exactly. Other benefits. Control shifts to the operators, like we said. The whole system becomes much more responsive to changes in customer demand, and you minimize that risk of products becoming obsolete while they sit in inventory.
That inventory reduction alone sounds huge. It's not just the money tied up in the stock itself, is it?
Not at all. Think about the cost of holding it, the warehouse space, the insurance, handling, potential damage or obsolescence. It all adds up.
And freeing up that physical space. That's valuable real estate right there. Could be used for something much more productive.
Definitely. And the way Kanban stops overproduction is so direct. You have specific container sizes, a specific maximum number of containers allowed in the system. That's it. The visual signals tell operators exactly when to start and, crucially, when to stop. Like, imagine a simple oil tank example from the source. You paint a white line on it, that's your Kanban. Oil level hits the white line. That's the visual signal. Time to reorder. Simple, clear.
Okay.
Or think about two machines, machine 1 feeding machine 2. Machine 2 goes down, the Kanban signal, maybe an empty space where machine 2 usually pulls parts from, tells machine 1 to stop. So machine 1 doesn't just keep making parts that pile up and cause a huge mess. It avoids that upstream overstocking. It's physically built into the process flow.
Makes sense. Very practical. So where does Kanban work best? What kind of situation?
It's really good anywhere you're trying to set up a pull system. Anywhere you need better flow control. If you're doing just-in-time manufacturing, obviously. Or just fundamentally, if you need to get a handle on inventory levels and work-in-process WIP. If things are piling up anywhere, Kanban can likely help.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for me. It's not just one single Kanban thing, is it? There are different types for different jobs.
That's right. It's adaptable. The source highlights 3 main types. First, there's the withdrawal Kanban.
Okay.
Think of this like a little shopping list or a voucher. It tells a material handler, go to the supermarket.
The supermarket, like a little dedicated storage spot.
Exactly. A controlled, limited inventory spot. And bring this specific number of these parts to this process. It authorizes movement, the withdrawal of parts.
Got it. Pulling what's needed. What's next?
Then you have the production Kanban. This is like a work order. It tells a specific work center, okay, you need to make this many parts to replace the ones that just got withdrawn. So it signals the upstream process to start producing, but only after the downstream process has pulled material.
Okay. Withdrawal triggers production. And the third type.
That's the signal Kanban, sometimes called a triangle Kanban. This is more of an alert. It signals that a specific reorder point has been hit for a certain product. It's like a minimum stock level trigger, telling someone, often in purchasing or a central stores area, hey, time to replenish this particular item.
Okay. Withdrawal, production, signal. Different signals for different actions. And these often take the form of a physical card, right? With details on it.
Often, yeah. The card would typically have, the part number, where it came from, how many parts per card, maybe a card number itself, where it's going, the reorder point, all the key info.
But it's not always a card.
Right. You can have, say, a multi-bin system. 2 bins for a part. When one bin is empty, the empty bin itself is the Kanban signal to refill it. Or inline Kanban, just empty spaces marked on the floor. When a space is empty, it signals the upstream process to fill it. It's about the visual cue, whatever form it takes.
Makes sense. And you mentioned something related FIFO, first in, first out.
Yeah, FIFO often goes hand in hand with Kanban. It's a simple principle. The first item put into a queue or storage area is the first one taken out. It's crucial for managing things like product freshness or shelf life, but also just for maintaining orderly flow and preventing old stock from getting buried. It limits how much inventory can accumulate in a CFO lane, working well with Kanban's inventory control.
Right, keeps things moving in the right order. Okay, so we know what it is, why it's good, the different types, but how do you actually do it? If someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want to try this, where do they start? The source had that 7-step guide, right?
It does, and it's very practical. It breaks down implementation in manageable steps. Crucially, it focuses on the why for each step, not just the what.
Okay, walk us through it. Step 1.
Step 1, collect data. And this is vital. You have to document your current situation honestly. Not what you think it is or what the target is, but the reality. How many parts are you actually making? What are your real changeover times? How much downtime, planned and unplanned? Scrap levels? Get the hard facts. People often skip this or use old data, and that's a recipe for failure.
Okay, get a real baseline. Then what?
Step 2, calculate the Kanban size. Now, you use that data, you figure out container sizes, how often you need to replenish to keep the customer supplied, that's a replenishment interval,
Hmm.
and you calculate buffers.
Buffers, like safety stock.
Exactly. Deliberate inventory to cover fluctuations and prevent shortages. There's a formula for the number of Kanban containers. Buffer quantity plus replenishment interval times adjusted production quantity divided by container capacity. The key here is understanding the trade-offs. Bigger buffer means less risk, but more inventory. Smaller batches mean faster response, but maybe more changeovers. You've got to balance it based on your data.
Makes sense. It's not just guesswork. Step 3.
Step 3, design the Kanban. This is where you create the actual visual system. Choose your signals, maybe color-coded cards like traffic lights, red for urgent, yellow for scheduled, green for normal flow. Develop really clear, simple rules for how it operates, and create the visual management plan. Signs, floor markings, quick reference guides, so operators always know what to do without having to ask.
So make it impossible to misunderstand. Step 4.
Step 4, train everyone. This is absolutely critical and often rushed. Everyone involved, operators, material handlers, supervisors, needs thorough training before you launch. They need to understand the whole system, not just their little piece, and exactly what their role is. Using what-if scenarios helps a lot here. If you give people more autonomy, you have to train them properly.
Right, can't just throw them in the deep end. Step 5 must be go live.
Step 5, start the Kanban. Yep, launch day. Make sure all the visual stuff is in place. Be ready for problems. There will probably be some teething issues. Have a clear plan for transitioning from the old scheduling method. The goal isn't perfection on day 1. It's to get it running and start learning.
Okay, it's running. What's step 6?
Step 6, audit the Kanban. So important for making it stick, but it often gets skipped. You need someone or a team responsible for regularly checking the system. Are signals being followed? Is the downstream customer getting what they need? Are the rules working? If there are problems, fix them fast. And, crucially, adjust the system based on future forecasts or changes, not just today's reality. It needs to evolve.
Keep it healthy. And the last step.
Step 7, improve the Kanban. Continuous improvement. Once it's stable, don't just leave it. Look for ways to make it better. Can you reduce inventory further by taking some Kanban containers out? Can you reduce scrap or downtime or changeover times? And if you make those process improvements, you need to recalculate your Kanban numbers based on the new, better data. It drives that cycle of getting leaner and more efficient. Don't just guess at changes.
That's a really solid framework. Data, calculate, design, train, start, audit, improve. Makes a lot of sense. And the source had that case study, right? The mug company. That helps make the calculation a bit more concrete.
It does. They had different mug sizes. Small, medium, large, extra large. Different demands, different process times for each. But by applying the formula specifically for mugs moving from cooking to the warehouse, they calculated they needed exactly 5 Kanbans. The formula used was daily demand times lead time in days times 1 plus the % safety stock divided by quantity in a container. Plugging in the numbers for that specific situation gave them 5.
So not 4, not 6. 5 visual signals or containers were needed to keep that specific part of the process flowing smoothly without starving the next step or overproducing.
Precisely. It shows how the math provides a specific, calculated answer to regulate the flow.
And it also touched on needing other tools sometimes, like that Hijunka box you mentioned, especially when dealing with lots of different product types in the mix.
Right. Hijunka helps level out the production mix, creating a smoother pattern of demand for the Kanban system to respond to. They often work together. But underlying it all are those key principles. Don't make more than what's taken. Only make it when you have a Kanban signal. Never pass on bad quality. Keep the Kanban with the parts, and review your Kanban numbers regularly. Get those right, and you're on the right track.
What a journey. From just a simple signboard at Toyota to this whole system for efficiency and flow, it really shows how powerful a visual system and that pull concept can be.
It absolutely does. It's about discipline, visibility, and responding to reality, not just forecasts. And understanding these ideas, gives you a different way to look at almost any process. Manufacturing, software development, project management, even just how you organize your own tasks. That core idea, respond to real demand, make things visible, stop overproducing. It's valuable everywhere.
It really is. So here's something to think about. What system in your own work or even just your daily life is maybe overloaded? Where could a simple visual signal, a kind of personal Kanban, help prevent doing too much or doing the wrong thing at the wrong time? Maybe start looking for those potential signboards around you. It's amazing how these deep dive insights can spark ideas everywhere. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.